I'm Hazel. It's Saturday again, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some questions. This week in WoW, we got the official shiny brand new release date for Shadowlands. It is official. We are getting the pre-patch event starting on November the 10th. The official Shadowlands launch date is going to be a global launch once again, so it's happening on November the 23rd. For North America, it's going to be at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and then that works out to 11 at night on the Monday night over in London, midnight in Paris, and then for Australia and New Zealand, it works out to be 10 a.m. on Tuesday the 24th. You have raid opening a couple weeks after that, with the normal and heroic Castle Nathria opening on December the 8th, and then Mythic Castle Nathria opens on December the 15th, which does mean that the World First race is going to be right smack on top of holiday season in December. The race would have to last for about 2 weeks in order to actually overrun Christmas, but that's not that unlikely, and there's also more holidays in December. So that's unfortunate timing. Ian did address it on Twitter, with the answer effectively being that they would have preferred to avoid the holidays, but that delaying the raid to January would have ruined the pacing to the point of being the worst of the two evils, so they'd rather get it out earlier and then have the race just kind of be in late December, and that's just how it's going to be. Definitely frustrating for people racing, but I think that for many people, myself included, it's kind of fine. Unless they are racing to finish the raid, guilds can still and will still take a week or two off for the holidays. The raid will still be there when you get back. And I know that I'm at least not going to be flying or traveling or visiting anybody in person this holiday season because of COVID, so it will be nice to at least have some WoW at home. You know, Christmas might be canceled for some of us, but we still have Shadowlands. Along with the release date, they also put out a story trailer this week. It is about a minute long, very fast watch. I will link it below if you have not seen it yet, but essentially just kind of like a primer on the conflict of Shadowlands, like where we are going into it and what the story threads are that we're going to be continuing. A nice little refresher if you were confused, or if you forgot, or if you're just consuming any and all Shadowlands content because you're very excited and it's soon, but it's not yet and you can taste it. And that's pretty much it for WoW news this week. It's just really nice to have a release date to plan around. People can try to rebook their time off work. It's just so soon. I have a countdown tile pinned to my start menu in Windows 10 in what may be the only time I've ever actively had fun with Windows 10. So every time I open up the start menu, I've got like a little day countdown, and like we only just found out the date and it's already like under 30 days and I gotta get moving. And in my life this week, I took that road test that I was talking about last time, and I did pass. Thank you for all the well wishes. It went very well. I was vastly more worried than I needed to be, although that's kind of expected for me. I got pretty lucky and had a very relaxed examiner who helped to not stress me out more, because I think my biggest chances to fail would have been just getting so nervous that I did something stupid, because I do know how to drive. But it went really well. I only got one mistake. They marked me down for a poor parking job, which was accurate. In my defense, I'd never driven that vehicle, and it was like huge, and it turned on with a button, which was unnerving. But anyways, it went real good. I passed. I've got a DMV appointment to get all the paperwork done next month because, you know, COVID makes these things a little complicated, but then I'm just allowed to drive places alone, and that's terrifying. Despite being literally qualified, I do not feel qualified to do that yet. And questions for this week, Brandon asks, in regards to shoulder transmogs and being able to pick left, right, or both shoulders, is that option available now in pre-patch, or was that coming with the actual expansion release? So unfortunately, none of the above. That was something that we all got very excited about, and then I think collectively forgot that it was just data mined. It was never like a confirmed feature. It never hit patch notes. Blizzard never said anything about it. It was a data mined string that WoW had reported on, and then we all just loved it so much that we forgot that it was just a data mine string and nothing more ever came of it. What we can say now is that we know that they've thought about it, so either they decided against it, or they just couldn't get it working well enough or in time in order to have it out in Shadowlands launch. So I sincerely hope that they circle back to that eventually and take another look at it, because it sounds very good, but definitely not in pre-patch or Shadowlands as far as we can see. Roger asks, when is flying speed going to be retroactively increased from 280% to 310%? I thought it was coming with the pre-patch, but my alts are still at 280. So this is kind of a little bit my bad, medium amount my bad. It is not happening. There will be no retroactive upgrade, and that's something I was mistaken on in the past. I said in previous videos that if you were at 280%, they would bump you up. Turns out that's not true, and I should have checked my facts more closely. I don't know if I read that somewhere or if I just assumed it, but it's not true. I never personally verified it on the PTR, and that's my bad. So if you are at 280% flying and you want to get 310, you do have to go pay to upgrade at a trainer. But note, and this isn't really going to be relevant for most people, but note that there is no way to get 280% flight speed in the game now, unless you already had it and you didn't upgrade, you can no longer train it if you wanted to. So any characters that have 280% flying are going to be kind of one of those like funny relics of the past, things that are no longer obtainable. And I'm not saying it's like a thing to collect. It is very much worse. It's not cosmetic. It's functionally worse. It's just like a different tooltip and you're going to be a little slower. But you can't get it anymore in game. So I bet you there's going to be at least like 3 people that sit that on a character or two just to be able to say they still have characters with 280% flying, because it's not going to be doable in the future. So not a big consolation prize, but something, and I do apologize for my own mistake. And Corsair Carl asks, what is your take on the idea of player housing and would you use it? So they did kind of effectively do player housing already in Warlords of Draenor with the garrisons, and that was kind of universally panned as like the worst feature. I think it was the most hated feature, and this is just guessing, but that they'd ever done that wasn't related to a microtransaction. I feel like that got the most bad press, and kind of rightfully so. There were a lot of issues with the garrison. So I feel like that's kind of made them wary of doing player housing again, but that's not to say that they shouldn't do it, and I really hope that they revisit again. But what I want them to do is learn from the garrison. In my opinion, the biggest issue with the garrison was how important it was to gameplay. The fact that it was A, tied to warlords, so we left it behind when we left WoD, but secondly, it was so key to the economy and to your player power and your gear and everything like that and your professions that you had to use it and basically lived there. So my dream player housing has nothing to do with professions, with economy, with player housing. No tangible in-game benefit aside from cosmetics. I want it to be a place to display your cosmetic collections that you bring with you from expansion to expansion. So they can start small and just have like a little spot, kind of like a garrison, but maybe it's got some armor racks in it. So as you complete transmog sets, you display them, kind of like the armor racks worked in the Legion Order class halls. Or, you know, a place to show your mounts and your pets. Like the garrisons had places to show your own mounts and pets, and that was really cool. It's just that they kind of got ruined by, you know, like the personal mine and 150 other things. So my dream version of player housing is to offer no benefit from it aside from just a place to store your collections and like maybe rested experience, but I could go either way on that. But you know, then have it be a place that people can decorate and personalize and make their own. And you can, if you want to beef up professions, at that point, you can have craftable cosmetics that different professions can make. Let people craft rugs and furniture and tapestries and then buy and sell them on the auction house. It'll be, you know, you can put gold sinks in it. I feel like there's a lot of good that could potentially be done with it, but my 2 dream key parts of the fantasy are that we bring it with us from expansion to expansion and it's not just like a one expansion feature we leave behind forever. And secondly, that there's no combat benefit. And I feel like the second one kind of feeds the first one. People still go back to their Draenor garrisons and do stuff there because it still makes gold. And because cosmetics and collections are kind of eternal, if the player housing only dealt with those, then it would continue to be relevant for all of time. It might still be located in an old expansion zone, but it'll still be a place to kind of customize and develop over time. And they don't have to start with like every feature they could possibly jam into player housing. They could start with a really basic version and then add on to it through different content patches. It's something that I very much want. It's not something they've given any indication ever that they're interested in doing. They may have very valid reasons for that. I'm not a game developer. I'm just, I don't know, unclear. But that's how I would want it to be if I got to choose and I had all the power to just like wish things into existence. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have a question that you would like me to answer in a news video, please leave it in the comments of the most recent one. Happy Shadowlands countdowning and have a wonderful, wonderful day.